welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video and for being here today. Hello there. I'm sure a lot of you have noticed if you've looked at a calendar recently. Have you looked at a calendar? Do you know what month it is? It is December. December 2023, which means January 2024 is approaching us. Every December, I love to tell myself that the incoming year is gonna be my year. I did it for 2023, 2022, 2021, 2020. Were any of those my year? No. But 2024, I got my eyes on the prize. I do love me a good new year, as many of you know. I'm a very symbolic person. Fresh starts to me mean something. I want to take this opportunity to kind of do an old school Jordo Shrinks video. Me word vomiting my thoughts to the camera with hopes that it's helpful to someone out there. I'm gonna be telling you guys how I have maintained my weight loss for so long. We are almost in year 9. Hi friends, sorry, quick sidebar here. I'm just dropping in to let you guys know that I am going to be running a weight loss accountability group in January on Facebook. I'm not going to take up too much of your time because I know this is not why you're here, but I will put a link down below in the description if you want to check it out. I have written everything that's involved, all of the things I'm going to be providing you, and basically all the information you need to know if you are interested. So check it out down below in the description, and thank you for watching. Bye! All right, so number one, the first thing I want to talk about, and I'm actually kind of excited to talk about this today because I've done a lot of weight loss content on my channel. I've talked about maintenance in every stage that I've been in. You know, I talked about how I maintained for 3 years, 4, 5, and until recently, I have never talked about this because I just figured it out for myself. Let's just say that. Let's just say I have made life-altering discoveries and I'm excited to share it with you. All right, so number one. And number one focuses on doing the inner work, doing a lot of self-reflection, looking inwards, and kind of understanding why you overeat. I'm not talking about like surface level, like, oh, I got sad and I ate a lot. I'm talking about like much deeper. Something I've come to learn recently is that being overweight is usually the symptom of another issue. It is what happens because another issue exists. It's not the issue itself. So in the past, I've talked about some people being able to link their food addiction, their binge eating to traumatic events in their lives. So maybe you suffered some sort of abuse, whether in childhood, relationship abuse, maybe you dealt with food scarcity as a child and that has triggered you into eating more than you need because you've gone hungry before. There are so many different things that can contribute to you overeating. And I feel like a lot of us don't know what it is. I remember many times on my channel being honestly kind of pissed. I was just angry because I felt like so many people I talked to in the weight loss space, people who have lost weight, people who are trying to lose weight, they could pinpoint their issue. They could say, oh, this event happened to me and since then I've struggled with food. I never had something I could pinpoint. I looked at my life and nothing really went wrong. I'm very privileged in that sense. I never struggled with food scarcity. I never struggled with any sort of trauma, abuse. I really didn't experience anything that I thought could cause such an unhealthy relationship with food, like the relationship I had with food. But that did not stop me as a kid, teenager, early adult, from sneaking into the kitchen, 9, 10, 11 p.m., grabbing all the snacks, eating them all in my bed. Why? Well, the reason I had struggled with overeating, binge eating my entire life is because I went so long, almost my entire adult life, with undiagnosed and untreated ADHD. If you are someone who suspects you may be neurodivergent, ADHD, autism, and you struggle with food and you can see the link from childhood, not even childhood, if you can just see a link of you struggling with food for no other reason, I highly, highly suggest or recommend that you seek help for that. That you go through the steps and identify if you do have ADHD, because this has been life-altering information to me. This has literally changed my life. So if you don't know anything about ADHD, and this isn't all gonna be about ADHD, by the way. I know a lot of you don't have it, but this is just me like telling you my experience, and then we're gonna talk more broadly. ADHD is a dopamine deficiency disorder. There are many conditions actually that cause dopamine deficiency. ADHD, depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, even restless leg syndrome. I did a little bit of research. I was trying to get some so I could tell you guys. There are a ton of conditions that can result in you being deficient in dopamine. But for me, having gone my whole life with a dopamine deficiency, what is something that is easily accessible, that easily increases dopamine? Food. Eating boosts dopamine, especially sugary, carby foods. They make you feel good. They give you dopamine that you might not have had otherwise. I have been overeating my entire life because I've been chasing dopamine without knowing it. No trauma, no specific event, just broken brain. Food gave me something that I didn't realize I was missing. And that's why I'm saying it's important to get to the bottom of why you are overeating. Because overeating, like I said, is usually a symptom for something else. Not always, of course. I'm sure some people just struggle with the habit of overeating. But if you're someone who has been obese, super overweight, there's usually something else causing it. So recently, I actually started a new medication for my ADHD, and it's called Vyvanse. Not to be dramatic, it has literally changed my life. It is the first time I have been able to go through a day without thinking about food. Because that is the relationship I had with food. After each meal, I would already start thinking of the next one. Sometimes I would go to bed daydreaming about food, which I know is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. What I thought was interesting and coincidental is that Vyvanse is actually a medication that is often prescribed for binge eating disorder. So please, if you feel like you cannot pinpoint why you're overeating, do the inner work to figure out why. And if you do know what is causing it, do the work to try to conquer it. It is not easy. It's not easy to get over these things. It's not easy to work through these things, but this is why therapy exists. This is why we have services that help us through these things. So you may not have ADHD. You may not even have a dopamine deficiency disorder. Like I said, I'm gonna say this so many times, I'm not trying to diagnose anyone. No. But if you are like me and you thought you were going along life fine with no ailments, but you still have these problems, it doesn't hurt to look into them. All right, so moving on to number 2, the second reason why I think I have been successful with my weight loss maintenance, and this is something I feel like I've talked about a couple times on my channel, but not in at least 2 years. So I figured we'd talk about it again, and that is accepting that I have a very complicated relationship with food. And that means that my version of maintenance is going to look different than the average person's, and that is okay. You will not be successful in anything long term if what you were trying to do is not, what's the word? I know some of you know it, starts with an S, sustainable. So I know a lot of you have probably heard this before, especially if you've watched my old videos, that sustainability is the most important element of maintaining your weight loss. So instead of lecturing everyone about the meaning of sustainability, I think we all know. I'm going to just tell you exactly how I've eaten for the past 8 years to show you that there is no cookie cutter way to do anything, especially weight loss maintenance. So my day with food usually goes as follows. I am 5'9", and I'm about 175 pounds. So when I calculate my daily caloric expenditure, which I've talked about this a lot, I'll put a video up here. When I calculate how many calories I can eat a day based on my height, weight, and exercise, I get around 2,600. So 2,600 calories a day to maintain my Slipknot nail. So I wake up around 7 or 8, and I will not eat until noon. And for a lot of people, that's gonna be a challenge. So if that's hard for you, do not do that. When I tried not eating to noon the first day, it was the easiest, most intuitive thing I felt like I had ever done. And that's what you want it to feel like. So I have my first meal at noon, and I would say it's a mid-sized meal. It's usually 500 to 600 calories. Let's say 600. So subtract from my 2,600, I now have 2,000 calories. I am able to go basically the whole day, lunch to dinner, without eating again. Sometimes I will have a snack, which is 200 to 300 calories, but usually not. So what that means for me is that the time it hits dinner time, I have 2,000 calories. Yes, I have 2,000 calories to eat the biggest, most delicious meal I want. And that's how I like to eat. I am fine with having a smaller meal earlier in the day if I know later that day I'm gonna have, basically I can eat whatever I want. 2,000 calories is a lot of calories. I know that's not for everyone though. I know some people don't like eating big meals. It makes them feel like shit. So that's why I keep saying it's so important that you don't just follow what I'm telling you right now. I'm just trying to show you that you don't have to eat breakfast, lunch, dinner. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack. Because I eat lunch, dinner, snack. Does my maintenance look different than the average person? Yes. Is that okay? Yes. Is that disordered or wrong? No. It's not about finding a way to eat as few calories as possible. It's finding a way to take the calories you do get and spreading them across the day in a way that works for you. And if eating 500, 600, 700 calories in the morning is not working for you, if you get to the end of the day and you feel like you still want to eat, just take a few days, a few weeks, whatever, play with different eating schedules, and eventually you will hopefully find one that feels intuitive and find one that you feel like you can sustain long term. All right, guys, number 3, the last one. Is anyone still here? The third thing that I think has helped me maintain, sustain my weight loss so long, and that is making sure you understand the inner mechanics of weight loss. Basically, knowledge is power. Once you understand the inner mechanics of weight loss, like I said, you really demystify the process of weight loss maintenance. It becomes a lot less scary. Something that I know a lot of people struggle with is they lose weight with some sort of program, maybe like Weight Watchers, or they use someone's maybe like guide, someone they found on Instagram's guide, which is fine. You can lose weight in any way that works for you. The only problem with that is I feel that when you rely on something else, whether a service or a person, a lot of the time you are cheating yourself out of knowledge that you need to be successful without them. Luckily, for the most part, weight loss is very easy to understand. It's pretty straightforward. It really just comes down to math, and it's not even that complicated of math. It's pretty simple math. Is it? Actually, I don't know. I use a calculator. I use a calorie calculator. What I'm saying is there are tools available to make it easy. So recently for me, this year, not too long ago, I actually ended up gaining weight back. And I think I gained like 18 to 20 pounds. And it wasn't like a super staggering amount, but it was more than I had ever gained back ever. It was scary at first, but I knew it was not unmanageable. And the reason why it felt so manageable is because I knew I had the base knowledge that I needed to quickly reverse what was happening. Since I had that knowledge, I was able to step back, look at my life honestly, you know, I can't sugarcoat looking at my life honestly, and I was able to pinpoint why I was gaining weight. And the reason was, for me at least, was I was eating the same amount of food I had always eaten, but I was not exercising. So my calorie expenditure was low because the more you move your body, the more you can eat, right? So I was just in the habit of eating a certain amount of food, and I was hit with depression, and that made me not want to move my body. So I knew I had two choices. I either lower my calories to suit my new amount of exercise, or I start exercising again. I chose more exercise. Exercise is good for you. It's good for your blood pressure, and it lets you eat more. And as we've established, I really like eating. If you have eliminated the first two things I talked about, you know, inner unknown issues and an unsustainable routine, then the only real thing you're up against, the only big threat you have is the unknown. So conquer the unknown. Set aside time and learn. If something is stronger than your ability to stick to the factual information than you know, then I feel like that just goes back to the first point I was talking about. There's probably an underlying issue, and your binge eating or your weight is just a symptom of something else. Well, friends, that is it. Yay! I have word vomited all of my thoughts. I'm probably gonna do a couple other weight lossy videos this December just to get into the spirit, because like I said, 2024 is gonna be my year. It's gonna be, I am sick of suffering. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Check out my nails.